Hey guys, Brendan here for CBM Reviews, and we are finally down to my top 5 favorite comic book movies of all time. So, let's go ahead and get this list started. My number 5 pick is Captain America Civil War. Now, Civil War is actually one of my favorite Marvel storylines ever made. And I just love the storytelling. I love the conflict between hero and hero, and it's a great storyline. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest it. So this movie, I would say, is loosely adapted to the comic books because for one, they couldn't use all the heroes that were in the original storyline, but it did give us the basic structure of Iron Man versus Captain America. And just so everybody knows, I'm totally Team Cap. But this movie did such an amazing job making actually both sides seem logical. So it's like you could either say, Captain America was right in what he was doing, but you could also say Tony Stark was right in what he was doing. And I love how they did that within the film. And you cannot mention this film without mentioning that airport fight scene. It is hands down one of the best superhero action fight scenes ever made. The choreography, how each hero has their defining trait portrayed through the film. I mean, it's beautiful, and it lasts like a whole 15 minutes. So we're sitting there and we're enjoying all 15 minutes of it, and it is great. Like I said, one of the best superhero fight scenes. Sure, there's a little issues with the plot, how everything is kind of coincidental and everything, but with that aside, this film is wonderful, and if you are a fan of superhero movies, I highly suggest this one. It is a great film. So, Captain America Civil War is my number 5 pick. My number 4 pick is Logan. I knew that when this movie was announced and that Hugh Jackman said that this was his last portrayal of Wolverine, I knew I was going to be sad and upset, but oh my goodness, was it the perfect way to go out. This movie was fantastic. Hugh Jackman will forever in my mind be Wolverine, and playing this character for 15 years, you get a special connection to him. And just seeing him in that final scene and that his final line where he's like, "So that's what it feels like." Just man tears, okay? Just a great film, and not like your typical superhero movie, but really toned down, and great use of that R rating, because we finally got to see Wolverine actually use his claws like his claws were meant to be used. Like, it's just a great story, great all around story. I love this movie, and it was the perfect ending for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. So yes, oh my gosh. My number 3 pick is The Dark Knight. Now, this could be classified as the best comic book film of all time. When it came out, my mind was blown. I didn't think that superhero films could be made this way. And this could be the film that interested me in seeing other films disguised as superhero films. Kind of like how I mentioned how Ant-Man was a heist film disguised as a superhero film. This film is a detective thriller disguised as a superhero film. Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker is top notch. I would say best live action adaptation of the Joker. Just a wonderful portrayal of him, and how he makes Batman make all these choices, and you really see Batman push to his edge with this character, as we've seen in the comics multiple times. So The Dark Knight, I would say, is probably could be classified as the best comic book film to date. So my number 2 pick is Black Panther. Anybody who says this film doesn't make at least their top 10 comic book films clearly hasn't seen this movie. This film is one of those other films disguised as a superhero movie. This film has a very strong political point to make, and it does it so effectively. And one of the few films where you actually watch it and agree with the villain. Like everything the villain was saying, you're like, man, that makes so much sense. He also has a way of doing it to where it's not exactly right. And as I pointed out to a friend when we saw this film, it's one of the first films where the hero actually agrees with the villain and actually does what the villain was trying to do in the first place, just not on as much of a malicious level as he was doing it. Sure enough, this film might speak to someone like me a little bit more than it speaks to others, but this film is hands down just a great film either way. It works well as a comic book movie, but it works well as just your standard film in general. So Black Panther, my number 2 pick. I just loved every moment of it, and it's such a wonderful film. And if you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it. And my number 1 pick is Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Watching the first Captain America, I was like, it's a okay introduction story. You know, not the best superhero origin film. So when he was getting his sequel, I wasn't really looking forward to watching this film. But when I saw it, my mind was blown. A spy thriller disguised as a comic book movie. This film took all my expectations and blew them out the water. All the plot twists with Hydra still in effect and infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D., Captain America's best friend actually surviving his fall and coming back to become the bad guy. It's just a wonderful film all around. You really get that huge sense of what Captain America stands for. It's just a top-notch film, and like I said, all my expectations were blown through the roof. So this is my all-time favorite comic book movie. And that's my list for my comic book films. And if there's something you didn't agree with, go ahead and leave a comment. I would really like to hear what you guys think. And go ahead and leave your favorite comic book films. Really want to hear what you guys have to say. As always, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. See you guys in the next video.
Looks like you're giving the orders now, Captain.
Damn right.